My deepest regret is I will not see you grow into the good man I know you will become. And finally, my son, I ask that you never abandon this city to fate. We have lived through dark days, and no doubt there are more to come. But it is the good and great men who stand up for Gotham when others turn and run. In death, I will love you forever. Your father, Thomas.
So, The Witcher 3 review is not going to happen until patch 1.07, so I figured I'd get the Batman one out of the way first. If I could describe this game in 2 words, it's solid, but disappointing. The Batman Arkham Knight is the 3rd Batman Arkham game from Rocksteady Studios, not including Origins. Everyone's trying to forget Origins ever happened. This game has 2 fronts that I'm going to essentially talk about. There's the story, which I'll get into super spoiler-heavy territory later, and I'll tell you about it first. And then the actual, game design, and, game innovations and improvements from the previous game. Let's say, as a video game, it's success. As a story, not so much. Which I think is kind of the opposite of Arkham Origins. Arkham Origins did terrible things with the gameplay, but it had some good story ideas. See, on the whole, this is a better game than Arkham Origins, but it's still not even close to Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. I'm not going to spend too much time on anything I touched on in the first impression video. The game's shining new feature is the Batmobile. Tank combat is very, very good. Like I said before, I like it a lot. And while driving the Batmobile is fun for the most part, there's some times where the Batmobile just... There's little side quests where the Batmobile is chasing, at full speed, these other Arkham Knight truck things. And you're, targeting onto them with a thing, and you're dodging their missiles and you can go, up the walls, and every time you hit a truck, it stops and it pans to it in slow motion. Those are cool. But if the front tires even graze the corner of a building, the Batmobile just loses all control, comes to a complete stop, and it spins around, and it's enormously frustrating. Other than that, it's a solid addition to the game, and a big enough reason to justify a 3rd entry. Calling the Batmobile when you're on the street and watching Batman jump in, it was... That's cool. As long as you don't have to drive it off a ramp, like I said, it's used in the puzzles really well. Screw those damn Riddler races. And you can remote control it too, but I do wish you could send it away, because if you drive in the middle of a bunch of tanks, and then you just want to get out, it's this is where I'm supposed to be, but I don't need the Batmobile, so you fly out, and then it's the Batmobile is under attack, get back in. It's why can't I send it away with the remote? Or just, if I can call it to me, I should be able to just send it away. The additions to the other 2 pillars of combat, the free flow combat, where Batman flips around and punches people really hard, and the Predator mode where he's a stealthy assassin, taking people out, but not an assassin, because that's killing, are great. I love the multi-fear takedowns. They're super cool. There are these new enemies, the medics that can bring up dead enemies, and they can, electrocute. I brought up real quick in the other video, but, I don't want to have to defend the combat, because I was The Witcher has a soft lock on, and I don't like that, but isn't that what Batman does? But it's a huge difference, because it's a completely different combat system. Witcher's just a spam fest. In Batman, you have different moves to take down different enemies. It's not about making sure your hits hit them. It's about aiming the right hits at the right enemies. And it's really fluid, and it works really well. The gameplay itself is a success, and that is the most important thing of a game. But the story, I didn't like. I thought it was really disappointing. So immediately the game opens with Scarecrow fear gassing everybody, and the whole town evacuates. And then you start out with this empty town just fighting these Arkham Knight tanks. And people have been saying that Batman being in a tank is very un-Batman-like. Have you seen The Dark Knight Rises? Don't give me that crap. I feel like the evacuation of Gotham is something that should have happened halfway through the game. If you just blow it all at the front, there's no evolution of plot. You can pause cutscenes in Batman Arkham Knight, which should be mandatory in every video game. And the side villains like Harley Quinn, Two-Face, Cobblepot don't matter to the story at all. In Arkham City, you were hopping from villain to villain because they were all important. And here it's just Scarecrow, Arkham Knight, they're the big thing the whole game. Nothing changes. It's like the thing you think you're taking down at the beginning of the game is the thing you end up taking down at the end of the game. And then the other villains are their side quests. That's all they are. And those quests are either beat people up in free flow mode, in Predator mode, or in Batmobile mode. The two quests I did really like were the Professor Pig one.
You're done here, Valentine. Let them go.
And a quick little thing with the identity thief that I thought was nice, especially with what's going on with Batman. They fool you into thinking it's already happening, but it's actually not. No spoilers yet. But for some reason, it doesn't auto-equip quests in this game. It wants you to go in and push the button with on the D-pad. And something else really annoying is that grabbing gadgets, it takes longer than it did in Arkham City because you have to hold down the left D-pad and then select the gadget, whereas in Arkham City, you just hit the D-pad. So that was messed with for no reason when that was already okay. And I feel they could have gone with the sense that Batman is fighting like this underground guerrilla war against this occupied city when the Arkham Knight does finally invade. If the Arkham Knight invasion was held off till later in the game, you could have get everybody out, I'm gonna stay behind, I'm gonna protect the city because I'm Batman, and making you feel like that he is on the run, but he's not because he's the most powerful thing in the city still. The Bat Tank just blows the crap out of everything. And something else that doesn't make sense is why doesn't the Arkham Knight just throw people? These drones are unmanned. Why? Just put people in them, and then Batman can't shoot him. I'll touch on some glitches real quick, and then we'll get into spoilery stuff. I did notice occasionally I drop out of glide for no reason. The Batmobile remote is wonky sometimes, and it's like you must stay in range, but you're actually going closer to Batman, and when you go farther away, it's fine. One of the markers for the serial killer quest line just led to nowhere.
What are these plants made of anyway? You can't scratch them with a freaking rocket launcher.
There was an invisible Barbara Gordon. That was pretty funny.
It's the only way to find my dad.
I'll handle it.
You can't go there.
And the hugest thing I encountered was where you just fall through the map. That actually scared me because it took me a few deaths to get out of that. I was worried I'd broken the game. And the share button is still pretty twitchy. Other than that, game looks great. While it's only at 30, the 30 frame rate is smooth as water. Alright, spoilers! So the thing that bothered me most about the story was the Joker. It's I knew and hoped he would have some kind of presence in this game, whether it be through calls that he left before he died for Batman, or maybe in one or two really good cutscenes where Batman sees him in his head. And he's either messing with him or he's inspiring him to do something else. When Mark Hamill has more lines in this game when he's dead than he does in the other two combined, that's a problem. It was neat at first, but the Joker gets super ass annoying, and they just throw him everywhere. It's Joker, 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 which just tells me you don't think your villains are good enough that you have to rely on someone you already killed off. Which is true, because the Arkham Knight is crap. He's terrible. Not only is he not a good villain, you see the twist coming from light years away. I'm well, I knew from the beginning, alright, well, he's definitely one of the three Robins. And then it brings the game to a halt to Jason Todd. And then, okay, back to the game, well, obviously it's Jason Todd, or else you wouldn't have shown that. That doesn't make any sense. I feel the story pulls too much from other lore, like Death in the Family. There's a really PG version of The Killing Joke. That was stupid. And Batman Begins is the whole arcing plot. I did really like John Noble as the Scarecrow. I think his acting was pretty good. And I will talk about the ending cutscene in a minute, but one of my favorite parts of the game was Poison Ivy's death. She's oh, she's the villain, and Batman tried to protect her, and he's oh, I'm getting everybody killed. She just fades away in his arms. I'm oh, I remember Poison Ivy was one of the bosses from the first game. Oh, I'll miss her. And I feel like they could have taken that and followed suit, where everyone just keeps getting killed off. It's Batman, you want to save your city, you will do it alone. Where all the villains and the main characters just keep getting killed off. And something happens in the beginning that I really, really hated. When Batman's pulling the canisters out of the thing, and the music's getting all intense, and Alfred's Master Bruce, please, save yourself. And it's I'm an hour into the game. This is way too early for this. I didn't mind the idea that Batman was becoming the thing he feared like Joker, but through the Joker blood, that made no sense. That was stupid. It should have been through Scarecrow's fear toxin and just the psychosis of Batman, what has been going through the past few games. And don't get me wrong, I love Mark Hamill as the Joker. They could have found a better way to use him. And the stuff with Barbara and Gordon at the end where he tries to make it look like him, but that was cliche and predictable and dumb. I expected so much more from Rocksteady. Arkham City is really good. Arkham City is one of the greatest video games of all time. There, I said it. Arkham City is damn good. If you have not played the other Batman games, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, then maybe Arkham Knight, you could probably skip Arkham. I don't know. They all have their own things to offer for different reasons, but Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are the two complete fantastic games. And, oh, I forgot to talk about the ending cutscene. Alright, so I did like the part where Bruce Wayne was like, they had the reveal, and everybody knows that Batman's Bruce Wayne. I have no idea why Batman made no attempt to rescue the two of them and just surrendered immediately because the game had to be over now. Real quick, and one of these death taunts? F that guy. F that guy. Look at this cop. F that guy. You had plenty of time to shoot them. And I really like the music of the big ending cutscenes. So it's just going like, BAM! BAM! I thought the end cutscene was well directed. I just don't think the game deserved it. And the part where he just turns into Joker and he just goes on a killing spree in his mind is like if they wanted us to believe that Batman had become the Joker and had just gone on a killing spree, they shouldn't have gone into his eye first because it was clearly just happening in his mind. And the identity thing really made no sense because all of Batman's friends, Barbara Jim, and all the Robins and Catwoman everybody already knows that Batman is friends with them. And the fact you have to do all of those little Arkham Knight missions and find every damn Riddler trophy to get the actual ending is bullshit. Nobody's doing that. Everybody's going to YouTube. And then the ending itself is just Batman blowing up himself in his house and Alfred for no reason. I mean, I presume they got to a bunker first. I really like that Nightmare Batman thing in the end. It was just... And at first I'm thinking Azrael's got his hands on some of the fear toxin and then succeeded Batman. Those are my thoughts on Batman Arkham Knight. I was very disappointed. I thought as a game, it's a success. As a story, it's a failure. But not a failure. I mean, it's still a good game. It's just a few steps below Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. I'd say it's worth a rental. Definitely check it out. The tank combat's super fun. And Batman Arkham Knight gets a final score of 7.5. Those Scarecrow Nightmare missions, when they showed that at the trailer at E3, it made it look like it was going to be more of those first-person little sequence thing. It's not. It's just a dumb race through the city and then a tank battle with all of the fire all orange and Scarecrows all giant. Those are stupid. And then the Harley Quinn story pack is 30 minutes of content. Yeah, there's our exclusivity. F you, Warner Brother Games. And I've got no interest in the other DLC whatsoever. I'm done with this game. So those are my thoughts on Batman Arkham Knight. Thank you for watching. I'm Wesley Tomsky. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. And see you later.